Hello, welcome to Andertons TV. My name is Jack. You're about to see a video with Ben, who's in the corner.
Hello.
Alex.
Hey.
And the Maltese Falcon.
Whoop.
And they are going to take you on a modular perspective of the Matriarch. Check out, there's going to be a few videos for this. There's going to be just an audio only with no talking, promise this time. One with me looking at it as just a guy coming to the shop, like, what is this? Look out for them on the internet. Let's get into the video.
Welcome everybody, welcome back to Andertons TV. Ben here with the Matriarch and the wonderful Alex, who's coming from Moog today. Moog, I should say.
It's Moog, get it right.
Oh no, I'm so sorry, please forgive me. So we thought, well, we've had the kind of the general overview with Jack. It's always fun to get some modular friends in, and also you have some secret tips and tricks that are under the hood that we can take a look at as well.
Basically, like, I've been messing with the Matriarch for a couple of evenings, and like, if you can't tell, there's quite a lot of stuff happening here. There's also a lot of under the hood stuff that if you get the manual, there's like pages of things, like clever stuff like the noise circuit has got a high pass filter that you can engage.
Always read the manual.
Yeah, like genuinely, that's actually really quite useful. And
there's like the shift fine tune thing on the
for example,
LFO.
If you hold, you can fine tune the modulation oscillator so that you can perfectly tune it if you're using it at audio rates, and loads of other stuff, including like obviously like stuff like note priority, but also like we were talking about this briefly with Jack, like round robin on the oscillators.
Yeah, so it's voice allocation modes. I imagine is the kind of section in the manual you'd be looking for.
This is cool. Like, you've got 4 oscillators on here, and you've got paraphonic mode, and so if you start to play things in clusters of like 3 and 6, then the oscillators kind of swap over their roles. Because if I get this kind of working, and hopefully I can get like a reasonably normal sound, because the cool thing here is, because this is paraphonic, you can play 4-note chords, but because it's sort of dumb phonic in the sense that it's just an analog synth, and there's you can't there's no preset memory, then I can change the tone of an oscillator, and that means that note will always have a different sound. So you've got to tune these things carefully as well. That becomes really important. So because you can literally detune.
That's really fun. Use that as a performance thing as well.
Yeah. You can totally mess with people who are skillful on the keyboard, but you can also do stuff like use sync, so that where it doesn't really matter what tune or what like note oscillator 4 is playing, because oscillator 4 will be a timbral control, if that's even the right way of timbre. Let me get that right. Timbre.
I've no idea. I always said tambourine.
Tambourine.
Yeah. Timbre.
Hey, Mr. Tambourine Man. I'm gonna play. So, if I put sync on. It's kind of weird, like Oscillator 2 then becomes like a strange like timbral beast that interacts with Oscillator 1. And the Matriarch's amazing because you can actually choose clusters of these things. It's a bit like if you're an FM synth nerd, choosing your operators and where they go to. It's sort of like choosing your sync sounds and where they go to. We should mess around, like it's fun to just try a mad sound where you've got all oscillators 2, 3, and 4 syncing to 1, because 4 syncs to 3, 3 syncs to 2, 2 syncs to 1. It's like, so if I go, kind of bonkers there. Like, but yeah, there's so many like funky timbral possibilities. The mixers, the CP3 mixer, which is on the modulars, and it really, really, really matters what level you have stuff at. Like you can totally overdo things in a wonderful way, or you can leave things at kind of 12 o'clock for because what happens is you've got 5 different sounds, and if you just crank them all up fully, you get this amazing, distortion sound. But there's a lot of kind of, I'm trying to think of an analogy, but it's almost like sort of painting or something. Like when you turn up one, it almost fills the whole sound spectrum with that color, and there's no room for the other sounds. So you really have to like work with the mixer. So that's loads. That kind of pulse width modulated sound. And then if I use this little funky dedicated LFO, so I'll go triangle out into input, then pro tip here, by the way, to go up and down on the keyboard, you have to hold the middle shift and then go up, down. There's actually some legending written on the machine, but it's kind of not obvious. So the attenuators are really useful. One of the cool applications, again, it's something we did in the Jack video, and we had like proper drone times, was using the two...
The more drone, the better.
More drone, yeah. Well, we do talk a lot in these videos. It is kind of drone. So basically using one attenuator to control one side of the filter and the other to control the other. And there is literally a drone switch. So if I put the filters kind of in the middle, so if you... Yeah, you can kind of control the stereo filters as independent elements, and obviously you could then use LFOs to move one side while the other is not being moved, which is like watch the video because we have a proper moment with some of that. It's amazing. But there's one of the things that it mentions in the manual, like a use of these attenuators, because I believe they say in the whole world of modular that you can never have too many VCAs. And
okay, cool.
Because if you look carefully, all the attenuators / attenuverters have got CV inputs. That means
magical input.
They are VCAs, yeah. And a VCA is cool because what a VCA is like a voltage control volume knob. And so if I'm sending that LFO to the attenuator and then into like cutoff or something, I'm choosing how much of it I want to send, but once I've let go, that amount is fixed, and it will always
automatic hand to do this for you.
Exactly. So like what a CV input is going to let us do is it lets it become an automatic hand. So then I can let the machine control how much of a voltage I'm sending. So that's one application, but another kind of cool one is ring modulation. So, ring mod, that is like a function that you would see on, a lot of well tricked out modular synths, and you might well go, well, where's my ring mod? But you've actually got 3, because ring mod is this same effect. So if I take I
have no idea about how ring modulation works. This will be a fun
well,
little
it's like
lesson.
taking audio rate modulation of one signal by another. It's kind of FM, but at this sense, maybe it is maybe more amplitude modulation. Anyway, it sounds cool. So what I would have to do is I take the output of oscillator 3, for example, and so I feed it into the input of the attenuator, and then I'm going to feed the output of this, and I'm going to actually stick it into the mixer, into the oscillator 3 input. So I've taken oscillator 3 for a little side journey and then returned it back to its original place, a changed waveform. And then I'm going to use, it's quite weird and sinister actually, I'm going to use oscillator 4 and I'm going to feed that into the CV input.
Intriguing.
So what is happening is that oscillator 4 is going to control the volume of oscillator 3. And I'm going to turn up on the mixer so that I only hear oscillator 3. Then with this all set up, you get a kind of bonkers sound.
There's kind of some bits like, the beat frequency control on the subsequent 37.
Yeah.
I suppose because that's still tracking the pitch from the keyboard, if you... suppose you tune it where you like it.
What you could do is patch a dummy cable. So now, by a little dummy cable with nothing connected means that oscillator 4 is now not being tracked, so it stays at the same pitch and just messes with oscillator 3. Yeah, ring mod creates kind of clang. Oh, there you go. So what a nice pluck. That's quite good, isn't it? Just like something. Yeah, nuts. It's quite cool actually. It never occurred to me the whole like plug in a cable without something patched in. That does actually make total sense. We talked a bit about like the CP3 vibe and stuff. It's nice to just point that out, like the whole mixer becomes almost like a performance tool because you really, things just take the stage when they're turned up fully. And I find like when I'm doing drones and stuff, you can just play it from the mixer. So talking about like super vibey sounds, we've obviously got the delay, which is analog. It's a BBD, so
punchy and awesome.
Yeah, exactly. And like BBDs are like tape in no way at all, except that they are dark and like. But it's kind of like, do I get a tape delay? Do I get a BBD delay? Sometimes that is that there are two different sounds.
Both is the obvious answer, but
that is ideal. And I bring up tape delays just because there's like a certain property to tape delays, the whole quiver, like the sort of like
wobbly
like,
thing.
oh dear, that the tape delay is not quite tracking correctly. That's like it's a sound, and it just sounds awesome because yeah, it does, especially when you've got lots of space between the notes. You can just hear your delays sounding vibey, and obviously the delay is super vibey already. So if I play some stuff. You know, lovely. You know, that's quite a tapey thing, even though it's not a tape. But, you know, thinking about the Quiver, you've got time inputs on this. We can control time.
We have the power.
At last. So what we can do is use the modulation oscillator as a kind of quiverer machine to make the delay quiver. And there's a couple of different waveforms, more than a couple in fact. Loads of different like funky traditional sort of wave shapes that you can use to like, yeah, modulate things with. But the two at the end are particularly interesting. One is sample and hold, which is randomness, for want of a better term. And it's stepped, or there is a slewed random where there's a kind of, so it's quivery. And so what we're gonna do is take that signal and send it into the delay time. And actually, let's send it into both of the delay times equally. So, and I wanna do that not all on or off. I want to have like a little bit of control. So I'll put an attenuator in the path. So I'm sending output of the modulator into the attenuator and then out from the attenuator into a mult. And the mult will let me tap up to 3 copies of that sound. So I'll put one into the left and I'll put the other into the right. So we should, if it works, get, I'll have this at like a high rate. Hear that?
So this is what we've got happening. If you put it really slow,
Yeah.
you crank it up.
You get that kind of like wobble. Super vibes. It's really
Awesome.
nice. When we were messing around with this before, I think we had like a kind of, like almost, how were we doing that? It was almost like moving it. Ah, maybe we had sync on. Yeah. Ha. That's weird. When you put on sync, it like hard like locks the changes, and it sounds kind of funky in like a completely different way.
Yeah, it looks like that sync is also controlling the sort of LFO.
Yeah,
sync over
I
the
think
side.
that is. Yeah, I think you're right. Because yes, you can sync like certainly you can sync the sequencer. I'm pretty sure you can. Yes, of course, and you can also sync the delay, and you can sync the delay to MIDI as well, USB.
nice.
So it's
Cool.
like tempo synced analog delay.
Yeah, I was wondering if you did the patch before where you're looking at the sort of voice allocation type thing. I was wondering if we could do that again, but have maybe like a 5-note sequence, just a little bit more of a plain one, so you can really hear how it's going through. If we
that's a
did
good
the
shout.
like the round robin mode that you mentioned.
Because like this is the whole point. Because we've got paraphonic mode. If I try and make this work, so and I'll make sure everything's level on the mixer. All the tunings are totally off. You've got to zero these. So that's like all 4 oscillators being played traditionally and with sort of the same sound. But what you're saying is, what if we change the sound like for each oscillator? So each oscillator is doing a different thing. So if I brighten this. Because as you say, like, yeah, it's going to allocate the oscillators individually, but every time you play a note, it will try and find an oscillator for you, so it'll steal the last one. Yeah. So let's go to record and then do... so that's like a 5-note sequence, I think?
Yeah, so like if you're... if you haven't got any notes overlapping, surely it's going to like always be... if you're just playing one note at once, it's always going to be oscillator 1, right?
Yes, yes.
So if you change to one of the other modes, will it go 1 note oscillator 1, then 2, then 3, then 4? So
you can do, yes, that is round robin mode. So that when you play, every time you play a note, it will pick you the next oscillator and again and again. So just to be clear, there are 2 different modes. We've got it actually not in that mode at the moment. So, but we can get similar effects if we play a 5-step sequence. But you can set it up in round robin so that every time you play the same note, you'll get different oscillators. You can do that. So yeah, if we just play this. It's going to pick different sounds every single note. Yeah, cool. It's like, yeah, bonkers.
Nice.
And with this playing, yeah, this should, I think, be synced. Yes, so you're absolutely right. Like with this synced, then the modulation oscillator is synced as well. So if you stick up the mod wheel, which, pro tip, you have to do for it to affect these internal routings. So you can get nice like tempo sync. What? Yeah. Nice.
Totally. So with the whole modular connectivity thing, we can have the whole world of strange sequences.
Yes.
And you're probably your absolute favourite sitting
Never
right
heard
here.
of it.
Oh, really?
Intelligel Metropolis? No, don't know.
Wow.
I've heard it's great. Yeah.
How would you integrate something like this while also maybe playing over using the internal sequencer as well?
Yeah.
That's sort of the nice combination.
Well, I think like one cool aside or one main point is that sequencers don't just have to mean pitch. It could also mean modulation. Let's try pitch, but like just to say quickly with the Matriarch as well, the sequencer in the Matriarch can be decoupled from the keyboard. So with that like menu stuff that you basically hold a shift function and push a special key, you can decouple a sequencer and you could start to use it independently, or you could use it to control filters and stuff like that. So that's the cool thing about modular is don't just think about one thing having one function.
Yeah, of
like
course.
things can be made to do other tasks if you work hard. So yeah, like if you were trying to get the Metropolis to do some stuff, the main thing would be sync the Metropolis to the Matriarch, and there is a clock out from the sequencer, which is this bad mother Hubbard. And if I feed it into your clock input, and I think I need to change the input to say external. That's what you have to do. And now this should be clocked by this. Then what you would do is you'd feed the pitch into the oscillators. So that's pitch here. And actually, it'd be quite good.
We'll stick it in drone maybe. And
yeah. So I could turn this up. So, and now let me go maybe oscillator 3. And if I go... So what scale have you got that in? Chromatic. Oh, that's cool. So what's actually triggering this now? I think we got a sequence. No, we haven't got a sequence going. So if I go like, and then what I might do is just create like a starting point for us on the Matriarch. I want to have a blank sequence.
Yeah.
So to arm recording, you go like here, and I'm just going to put in loads of rests. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We'll do it. And then, so I've got an 8-step blank sequence. So the matriarch should be playing. What I'm trying to do is I want the envelopes to trigger. You can trigger them here, so I could do this, and then... So now this is triggering the envelopes, and then you could go... So now the Metropolis is playing the matriarch. And that's like the gate time on here, but we've got our own...
Yeah.
And then I could start droning in my own oscillators, but it will play alongside, so maybe I will do this. Okay, so now we've got the pitch output of the Metropolis into the pitch input of this.
Oscillator 3.
Of Oscillator 3. And so I'm going to make it so I can play the keyboard and we'll hear Oscillator 1 being played by the keyboard here, but Oscillator 3 being played by this. It's quite cool, that. What's happening is I'm playing the keyboard, but the Metropolis is playing Oscillator 3 for us, and it's synchronized the sequencers. So what I could do is actually record in a sequence, and we should be able to work something out. We'll have to be quite careful with the tuning, but we should be able to get them to sing together. Let's find out what we get.
That's mad.
Zero of these for that. You've got a Dixie as well.
Yeah, we can use that as an extra oscillator,
yeah,
or
I
LFO.
think as an LFO, yeah. Stick it in LFO mode. And then let's, maybe I could go square, feed it into the Metropolis, and then get that doing like octave shifts.
Yeah.
If this wasn't nutty enough, like. So this is our weird, like, Metropolis oscillator. I'll sync Oscillator 4 to that. It's quite a super bonker. then, have you got a long cable? Now let's get the Metropolis's gate to control the gate of...
Oh yeah.
So... It's totally bonkers. I'm not sure what we've created here. We've created a weird Metropolis Matriarch hybrid where you've got, this is the like oscillator being played by the Matriarch, but being triggered by the, no, it's good that, being triggered by the Metropolis's gate sequencer, which is amazing. But then Oscillator 3 is being played by the Metropolis, so. So it becomes about like tuning and careful, like, because you've got like, it's a duophonic line, you've got two sequences playing together. So we probably, I'm not getting it quite right, but like, because that's cool. And then sync of Oscillator 3.
Yay. Hooray!
Synthesizers!
From that absolute madness, I think we're going to get Jack back to do some musically informed playing, because I don't know that I have any idea what I'm doing.
I think that was
fantastic
music.
fun.
Thanks, mate. Thanks for having me.
Thank you very much.
Cheers.
Okay, you just saw the two guys talking about the Matriarch. Links below for buying it. Also, comment. Let us know if you like the videos we're doing. Are we showing you the best view of the Matriarch? If you do like it, click like, subscribe. If not, leave the hate. Bring it.